Welcome to the Gaga for Squares video channel. In this video I'm going to show you how to put together, to sew your own bag together. This particular bag comes with a set of 15 ready-made granny squares, white border or different colors inside, a adjustable shoulder strap, some lining to line your bag with, a darning needle to sew up all the squares and some yarn, and then some type of clasp. It'll either be a magnetic clasp or a snapper clasp. Okay, here I am laying out the squares in a pattern that I like. I just want to show you what they are going to look like when they're all sewn together. There. So this is what they're going to look like once you've sewn them all together, and then along this line we're going to flip them over, but I will show you step by step how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to sew all these squares together in two parts and then bring the two parts together. So if I have my squares like this, I will be sewing them together like this, starting here, we're going this way. Okay, that will be the first set of squares. The second set, I'll be going, bring it into camera view. Right, I'll be going along there, and then finishing up here, and then bringing the two together by stitching along here, and here. Okay, you cut a piece of yarn. I like to work with about a meter long piece. You thread it with the needle provided. All right, and then you take your two squares that you're going to start with, place the right sides together. And if you look at them like that, you can see a V-stitch. So we are going to be working in the outer V's. So we're going to go from the one outer, we're going to start in the corner, and we're going to go just on the outer V, and we are going to go stick the needle through the outer V of the other square and leave a little tail. And then we're going to come from the back, so we're going to go to the stitch next to the one that we've just come out of and go through the back loop. These are called loops, and we're going to go through the back loop of the stitch next to the one we started at. Then we're just going to pull the yarn through, and we will go right along the edge, going all the way along until you get to the center, the corner of these two squares. Outer loops, back loops. Back loop. Back loop. one more. Give it all a bit of a tug. You can see if you open it, it actually lies nice and flat. Okay, and now I'm going to go down here, so I take that one and I flip it over and we'll start again. Okay, now we are joining this one. So we go from that corner stitch, you've got to go through the back of that one, right, to connect the two, and we're going to go through that back one, like that, and then we're going to go all the way along. And you've got to remember, you must have fun, must be enjoyable doing this. You're making yourself a bag. The squares are provided, but you're learning a craft if you don't know how to sew. If you do know how to sew, you're still making your own bag. And all the way to the end. And you can lay the colours any way you want, just however layout you want to have them. When you get to the corner chain, just hold it there and give it a bit of a tug. Now we're going to go down that way. Okay, you can see that I've done these three sides together. I'm now going to go along these edges here, and then all these squares will be one piece. So when I get to here, you can see I've gone round. What I like to do, because you want the corners to stay together, so I'm actually going to go into the opposite corner and this corner, and then back into that corner. Just give it a bit of a tug, and then we can flip it over and then carry on going through there and then coming down that way through the back loops. Okay, so here's one whole piece, and I'm actually just going to leave this little tail, because I might use it later on when we bring the two, when we fold the back and the front over each other. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to be sewing this side together. Okay, so here are the balance of the squares that still need to be sewn together. So you're going to cut yourself another piece of yarn, and then you're going to attach the squares together this way. You're going to start here, and you're going to come down along these lines, and then you're going to end here with the corners. There are 4 double crochets in each corner, and between the 2 of them there is a chain space. So that's where we start. We go into that chain space, leave a little tail, and you find the chain space on this side and the back loop. Another thing I just want to say is that these squares are handmade, so there might be every now and again a little imperfection. For example, the weaving in of the threads. If you find that one of these are sticking out, you just take your needle, you push it into the stitch, you actually remove your yarn, you push it into the stitch so that you actually don't see the yarn. Push it through the needle and then pull it in, and there it's hidden again. And then you carry on going round. Okay, so as you can see, I have attached all these squares. I'm leaving the ends for now. Right, so if I turn it this way, I'm going to show you my other lot of squares. So I'm going to push the two together, and then I'm going to take a thread and sew them together along like that, and then it'll be ready to fold and sew down the side seams. Just remember, when you're sewing together, put right sides together, so you can't just flip it like that and figure out how to stitch it. You've actually got to start by flipping that over, grabbing it like that, and then stitching down there. Okay, so I've stitched along there, so when you get to the corner, pick it up and then I would go into this corner as well to secure it. Give that a tug so it's nice and straight. And now if I flip it, right, I want to carry on sewing down here, so I'm going to flip this now that way and then come to this side and go into those chain spaces and then carry on. And every time you do a side, just flip it back over so you can see the whole thing, so you know which fronts to put together. Otherwise you're going to end up sewing it all together all wonky. So now you can see I've done along there and there, so I'm just checking that it's all looking all right. And now I'm going to go along here, so I need to get my yarn out the way. I need to flip that over, grab the two squares like that, and then carry on along there. Ooh, now it's starting to get really exciting because all the squares are sewn together. And now it's time to fold along that line. That is the bottom of the bag. So if we pick it up like that and we fold it like that, you can see that these squares line up with the squares underneath. So what we've got to do now is we've got to do the side seam. And to do the side seam, we need to fold that in like that. So we need to stitch up, along, up, and along. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, and the exact same on the other side. These two get curved in, and we go up, there, there, and there, and in there. So you remember what I said, we've got to have right sides together. So that means we've got to turn it inside out as a start. And then we've got to start over here and come up. So while I look here, where I'm going to start, there are some 2 loose threads, just for extra security. I'm going to give that a knot. I'm going to tie a knot. Okay, and then I could actually use this thread and come up, but I'm choosing to, I've cut another piece of thread and I'm going to use one thread to go all the way up on the one side. Okay, so I've sewn up my first side, and when I get to the next, the end of the side, there's another thread that's been cut. So before I start, I'm just going to make another knot. It's all just to lock things in place. It doesn't matter if it's wasn't there. I'm just choosing to do that. And now right sides together, we've got to do that, and then we carry on along that side. Okay, so as you can see, everything's been stitched together. The last thing you need to do before turning at the right side is actually to weave in all your threads. So if they're very long, obviously you can cut them, but as a start, I'll just do a double knot, double stitching there to lock it, and then I'm going to go put my needle down, so it's going from the top of the bag down. I'm going to weave it through some stitches, all right, and then pull it through, a bit of a tug, and then weave it a little bit up, back up, and don't just pull it so that it's, you don't pull it so that you're tightening everything, and then lastly go back down again. You can even go through the threads. It really secures it. Okay, back down, obviously making sure you can't see it on that side, and then what you can do is you can cut it off at the end. So you weave in all your threads. I'm going to weave in all my threads now, and then I'll turn it inside out. Okay, so there I've woven in all my threads, turned the bag the right way round. Look how beautiful this bag looks. You can be very proud of yourself that you've stitched this bag together. I just want to let you have a look at some things that you might find on your squares. So if I look at the squares, just remember all the squares are handmade, so there could be slight imperfections in the squares. So if you look here, so this is a thread that was woven in, and it's obviously come a little bit out. So what you can do is you just put your needle through some stitches, just so that the top comes, the hole is sticking out, and then you thread this yarn. Oh, it's a bit difficult doing it like this standing. You thread that yarn through, and then you just pull it, and there it disappears. Okay, so right now I am going to show you how to attach a lining to your beautiful bag that you are super proud of, that you've just made yourself. Before I actually put in the lining, you don't have to do this step, but I just find that it just gives a nice finish to your bag. I'm going to show you how to do a single row of single crochet around the edge, just to create a little bit of a border. It just makes it look more finished off. Okay, so I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook. If you cannot crochet, you can follow along with me, or you can ask someone you know who may know how to crochet to do this step for you. Okay, so I'm going to start at the top. So I'm going to insert my hook through a chain stitch, pull through and make a little knot. And then I push my hook through the top 2 stitches, bring it through and chain 1. You yarn over and pull it through 1. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hook through the next 2 stitches, yarn over, pull it through, yarn over and pull through. And I'm going to do that all the way around, giving it a little pull, and it just finishes it off, especially if you go over the joins in the squares. make sure you go through two threads, not just the back loop, both the loops. And now I'm going to cross over and go on to the other side. See, it just carries it on. Okay, so I'm getting close to this V. So what I'm going to do is go through two, go through those two on the orange circled square. I'm going to go through two on the tangerine colored square. And on the yellow, carry on up with the yellow. See, just makes it nice. Okay, when you come up, so now I've gone down and up, when you come up to the corner at the top, okay, that's the actual top. I'm going to just do a chain, which is not even going into the stitch, it's just yarn over pulling, and then I'm going to go into the stitch, just to give it a little bit of a corner. And then we carry on down, up until you're finished. Okay, when you get to the end, we're going to make a chain to form the corner, and then we're going to slip stitch it into that first single crochet we made. I'm going to pull that through, and then to make an invisible stitch, do that, pull through, pull through again to create an invisible stitch, and then you just weave this end in like I showed you before, and there you've got a lovely border on your bag. Okay, so in your package you'll have some fabric that you can use for lining. So you put two, it's very easy, you put two pieces of fabric on top of each other, and then you take your bag and you place your bag on top of the fabric. As you can see, there's extra fabric all around the bag. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay the bag nice and flat, everything on top of each other. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a scissors and I'm going to cut, leaving a bit of a seam allowance, centimeter seam allowance all around the bag, coming up here and then also going into a V. You just follow the curve of the bag. There we go. And now what I'm going to do, if you've got a sewing machine, that makes it a lot easier. You just sew a centimeter seam allowance all around the edge, and then these two sides you'll take an iron and iron a little hem. When you get to the V, you make a little snip. I'll show you. You can do it now. You just make a little snip in the V so that you can make the hem. If you don't have a sewing machine, you can actually just hand sew it around. It'll be fine. Okay, so you can see I have stitched with a sewing machine around the edge, and I have ironed a hem in the V. Now what you do is put your hand in the bag, push it into your bag, and you're just going to pin the lining around the edge. I'll start with a V. Maybe just go just below the, yeah, get a bit of the crochet stick out. Okay. A V here. You just pin it all the way around. Once your lining is pinned in place, just making sure when you get to these edges that you pin it, you turn the lining over so that you've got a gap for your handles to go through, and then you sew around it. So you just do a couple of stitches in the same place. These pins. Okay, a couple of stitches in the same place, and then you just go around the whole way around, just catching some of the crochet and the lining. It looks very neat. Okay. And you can remove the pins as you go around. So here I have stitched in all the lining, as you can see. Okay, and now all that's left to do is to attach the handles. Oh, also which I'll show you now. So you attach the handles through this hole there. And that one there. And this will secure your bag. It's got little holes. Your kit will either come with that kind of a setup where you stitch this onto that side, this onto that side, and then you secure it like that, or magnetic clasp, which you sew just onto the inside of the bag like that to secure it. But yes, and there you have got, you've just made a beautiful handbag. I hope you enjoy it.